Hello students, this is a presentation about MLA, Modern Language Association Format Directions. And so after you have finished writing your essay, you should go through and now edit it for the correct format that is considered acceptable in our English department at Ponderosa High School. So I'm going to read through and show you what is happening here with the format. And also, I'll go through some actual steps that you can use to get your essay ready to turn in as well. Many students get worried or upset about the idea that there is a specific format required for English papers at Ponderosa High School and beyond. Having a consistent format ensures that your paper will be graded based on content rather than appearance. At Ponderosa High School, we use MLA format in the English department. Once you learn a few simple steps, you should have no problem at all with adjusting to this new format of writing. Take a look at the format of this page. This is MLA format. If you read on, you can learn some tips and avoid some pitfalls of this requirement. If you don't want to read this page, just structure your writing this way and you will be 99% right. So notice that there is a certain header required. On the first page, you will type the whole header that you see above. Then insert a header a ½ inch from the top of the page for your last name and page numbers. Format the page numbers so that they insert sequentially after the first page on the top right-hand side. You could just type your last name and page number at the top of each page, the thing we're editing. But it is better to insert a header so that one day when you're typing a 267-page paper in college, you do not have to type the page number on every page. To format these consecutive pages, use Insert in the toolbar. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to show you how to do your header in general. All right, so first of all, we want to make sure we're at the top of the page. And this is what goes on the left-hand side of the first page only. You put your name. This is my favorite student, Joe Schmo. And then you put your teacher's name. You put the class name. And then you put the date. And the date is formatted in an interesting way, differently than we use really in any other place in life. So I cannot change that for you. I am not the queen of MLA format. This is how you write a date in MLA format. You put the number of the day, you put the month, and you put the year. And you'll notice there are no commas in that whole thing. So that's what your left-hand header should look like. Now you only do that on the first page, and you notice I typed that in because I don't want that to repeat on every page. The part I do want to repeat is the page number. So now I'm going to do the right-hand header over here. And so to do that, I'm going to go to Insert, Headers and Footers. I want to insert a header. And I want my header to be my name and my last name as a student, and I want it to be right justified. So I'm going to put in Schmo like that. Everything should be Times New Roman, so I'm going to go ahead and make this 12-point font. That's our standard size, and make it Times New Roman. And then after that, I want to also insert page numbers. And so I went up here to insert, I go down to page numbers, and then you have these pictures, right? What we want is we want our page number to be in the upper right-hand corner, and we want it to be sequential. So page 1, 2, 3, and so on. So I will click on that one, and look, there's my number 1. Is this all the way over? Yes, it is. All right. You could probably right justify that too. There we go. That's better. So to get this all the way over, I just went to the top and did that right align. All right, let's see if it worked. Yes, it did. So see how I don't have to now go back and retype that on every page? It automatically will put my last name and my page number. So that is the benefit to using a header Like I said, not a big deal maybe if you have a 3-page essay, but it will be a big deal later when you're writing very long papers. So your margins should be 1 inch all the way around. So let's just make sure that's the case, because this is looking very low right here, this right-hand header. So go to File and go down to Page Setup. Oh, my margins are 1 inch. I'm going to go to Format the Header. Okay, let me do that again and show you. So this is 1 inch right here, but I really want this part to be 1 inch from the top. And see, these are the specific things that drive students crazy, and I realize that, but it's just a system, and this is a system you have to play into. I'm sorry to tell you. All right, so go to Format, go to Headers and Footers, right? And we want our header to be 1/2 inch from the top. Apply. There we go. This is what it should look like. So this side, the right-hand side, should be 1/2 inch from the top. This should be 1 inch from the top, inch from the side over here, inch from the side over here. So that's all looking good. Margins are looking good. All right, so we've got our headers on. Our page numbers are repeating like we want, so that's beautiful. All right, I kind of explain all of this here in this paragraph. If you need to go back and take a look at it. This is important. Please note there's no punctuation between your last name and the page number. There's no comma there. All right, so this is where we are. MLA format requires that the page look uniform. The title and all of the text on the page looks the same. It's all Times New Roman 12-point font. Nothing is bold, underlined, or italicized unless it is grammatically correct to do that. There are also no big white spaces on the page between paragraphs, between the title and the header, or anywhere else. The whole page is simply double spaced, including the header. We talked about the margins already. This tells you how to do that. Okay, before we go on to the middle of this paragraph, I'm just going to talk to you about the spacing. So sometimes students think it's an advantage to them to have a longer looking essay. So they want to put a whole bunch of white space, like in between their title and the first paragraph, like that. That does not benefit you. Because we're using this system of MLA, that's actually a mistake, and that's taking away from you getting a better grade. So see how everything is just consistent? It's all double spaced, including this up in the left-hand header. So that's how it should look. No big extra white spaces. By the way, to indent, you should use your tab key, which is on the left side of your keyboard, and just tab in 1 time. The problem with doing the space bar, you would do it 5 times, is that it turns out to be inconsistent and it's faster. So just use the tab key. All right, so everything is consistent. Everything is Times New Roman 12-point font. And then we're coming to the middle of this paragraph. Remember that there is a right and wrong way to cite evidence using MLA format. You've been given directions and samples of how to accomplish this, but the following line shows how it is typically done. A major focus for MLA style, blah, blah, blah. What I want you to see here is the quotation mark. I feel like I have an extra space there. Yep. The quotation mark at the beginning of someone else's words. Remember, that's what that quotation means. The quotation mark when you finish taking their words. And then in parentheses, you put the last name of the author and the page number, and parentheses, period. Now, never in your life has anyone ever told you to put 2 periods within 1 sentence. And so the period still goes at the very end, just as it is right here on this example. You do not put a period in the middle of the sentence and also at the end. And there's also no comma here. We instinctively want to put a comma there, but there isn't. Citing your sources correctly helps the reader to understand your writing and may save you from an accusation of plagiarism. Here's another example. Plagiarism is the practice of taking someone else's work or ideas and passing them off as your own. So we started the quotation when it's someone else's words. We end it. We put our source in the parenthesis and the period at the end. All right. Writing in large font or a small font to affect the length of the paper does not help you. You don't need a fancy title page. You don't need big white spaces. In actuality, MLA format levels the playing field for all students. Everybody's paper looks the same, so the teacher must evaluate what has been written rather than how cute the paper looks. And then I just listed some necessities here on the bottom. All right, so one last thing to note is that your title just looks plain. And you should have a title, and your title should not be essay or survival essay. Come up with a title that would make someone want to pull that book off the shelf and read it. All right. Notice it is not underlined. It's not bold. It's not a bigger font. It is just plain, just like the whole page. So I'm really forced as a teacher to look at your words and not how fancy you made it look with all of the font and the print and so on. All right. So now please go edit your own essay and get it in perfect MLA format.